How you doing?
Good. I'm
good to see you.
Crazy busy. Not that I haven't been wanting to come. I've just been crazy busy.
Well, okay. So,
hey, see ya. How you been?
Been good. Cool. I gotta split like extra early today, unfortunately, because I gotta get to work. My girlfriend is at work. But I'm here. I've been golfing.
Good.
Are
you going to Worcester, Ken?
I am indeed going to Worcester.
Elijah's at WPI at a robotics meet.
Oh, cool.
So when do you have to leave?
Quarter two.
Lehit atef. To wrap oneself. To wrap oneself.
The look is at the two, right? I'm thinking of the grammar term. The infinitive.
Lehit atef batzitzit.
Because it's part, because Hebrew is very interesting with participles. I mean, I really wish I had the leisure to take a Hebrew course, and then I wish I could learn Arabic. Because I really, if I can like do everything all over again, in addition to doing, I mean, obviously I had horrible Hebrew instructors. I had very horrible old Israeli women. But I really wish I had also, Arabic, because I would love to go to Timbuktu.
And they're related.
And they're very closely related, but...
So let's look at page 62, something we don't usually do.
Oh,
okay.
Because there's a nice meditation before putting on the talit.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
So you want to read a paragraph? And you read a paragraph?
Sure. Go for it.
Baruchi nefashi es Adonai again. Elohai gadolta medo. Ma'od. Oh, okay. Yes. Ma'od hod v'hadar lavashta oter ar kashalma no te shamayim yurita.
Yeah. And try the English too.
Okay, here.
No, if you would do the English also.
Let all my being praise God and know Adonai my God, you are the great indeed, clothed in splendor and majesty, wrapped in light as a garment, enfolding the heavens like a curtain.
Okay, so this is from the Psalms, and it's saying God is wrapped in light as a garment. So as we're wrapping ourselves in this garment, we're imagining God wrapped in a garment of light. As it were, imitating God. As we put on the talit with the tzitzit, we're imagining God wrapped in light. Okay? Bonnie, you want to do the next one?
Oh, beautiful. Hineni mitatefet tzitzit kedei likayim mitzvat hori. Kakatu batorah ve'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem lidorotam.
And the English?
I wrap myself in a fringed talit to fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator as written in the Torah. They shall put tzitzit on the corners of their garments in every generation.
Okay, so then we wrap ourselves in the tzitzit, and then there's one more reading, which I'll do just in English. How precious is your constant love, O God. Mortals take shelter under your wings. So we're also like wrapping ourselves under the wings of God, as it were.
Oh, nice.
So there's all these meditations that go along with putting on the talit, which we don't usually take the time to do. they feast, meaning mortals. On the abundance of your house, you give them drink from your stream of delights. With you is the fountain of life. Your light, in your light we are bathed in light. Maintain your constant love for those who acknowledge you and your beneficence for those who are honorable. So we're like bathing ourselves in this is like a garment of light, as God is bathed in light, and also sort of under God's wings. So that's all from the Hita Tepa Tzitzit, to wrap ourselves in the tzitzit, the blessing for it, and where it went from there. Okay.
I'm trying to figure out the grammar.
The grammar, well, go ahead, keep trying to figure it out. I'm glad you are, but I can't help you too much with that. I'm not so good at grammar.
Okay, but you're fluent in Hebrew, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
reasonably fluent.
Reasonably fluent.
I was once very fluent. Seriously.
Right. Yeah. I'll stop annoying you about this after one last question. I know we're questioning people, but are there I know we thought like Thursday, is that just reading, or is there Hebrew classes in the neighborhood that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think if you really want to study it seriously, you could touch base with either UMass Judaic Studies, where they teach Hebrew, or there's Biblical Hebrew that I think is taught at Smith College. Any of the number of campuses. Oftentimes, adults can just audit those courses for free. And I mean that's there are also some online ways to learn Hebrew, which I don't know if those cost or not. But I think for me, I think a class is good just because you have the discipline going. And
I need to kind of be responsible for showing up in a place. I'm very bad at learning languages.
Well, check out Smith would be the closest.
Right. If they allow adult men and people like that.
They do. I mean, if you ask you ask the professor if you can come, and usually they're probably delighted to have some adults.
No, they have men with the 5 colleges all the time.
Right, but I'm not. I'm kind of loosely associated with UMass, but I'm not.
No, you don't have to be. People just. There's a friend of mine who's taken Spanish at Smith College. Not associated with Smith anywhere. All right, let's go to the morning blessings. Page 65. And let's just think about how we're feeling blessed, in what ways. It's so easy to feel how we are feeling oppressed and troubled in the world. It's nice on Shabbat to try to flip that, to think about what's something we're feeling blessed about in our lives that we maybe don't want to take for granted and be especially thankful for. So with that kavanah, let's chant them or respond with amen and think about our own particular blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech bi bina lehavin ben yom uben layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzalma'o. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivriim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish aruim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rak haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hanotein Ayahev Koah. Any blessing come to mind this morning?
Thank you for giving me the willpower to stop arguing on the internet and come to synagogue.
Amen.
Happy you're here, that's one.
Yeah.
And very grateful for the body's capacity to heal and for the blessing of seeing my daughter graduate college tomorrow.
Amen. Nice. Nice, yeah. I've spent some time this week watering some plants that I planted and watching them grow. And so far, having seen them not being eaten up by little creatures. And it's just that I love the whole idea of watching my garden grow and just trying to be a partner with it and helping it. I feel very blessed by that.
Students and children are sort of the same way, just in slower motion.
Well,
Nice.
that's great.
Nice. Nice. Page 83. Baruch Shamar v'haya haolam Baruch Hu Baruch Oseh Bereshit Baruch Omer ve'oseh Baruch Ozer u'mekayim Baruch Merachem al haaretz Baruch Merachem al habriot Baruch Meshalem Sarto Lireah Baruch Arad V'kayam Lanetzach Baruch Podeh Umatzio Baruch Shemo. Yachid Chei Haolami Melech Meshubach Umefoar Adei Ad Shemo Hagadol Baruch Adonai Melech Mehulal B'Ati Yishpacho. So that introduces the blessing we just said. Praise to you, Adonai, sovereign, magnified with songs of praise. It introduces the section from 84 to page 100, which is full of songs and songs of praise. So rather than my just calling out numbers, are there any that you'd like to sing this morning? Anyone, whether they're in this section or some other section, a favorite song that you'd feel, wow, if we sing that today, that would be really good. Or from some other section too, doesn't it?
I really like the Ahava Rabbah.
Okay.
I like that.
And we will get to that one, Barney. Actually, it comes later.
Oh, never mind.
And we'll do it. We'll do it.
Okay.
I duly noted, and I.
It's all right.
Oh, we have almost a third of the meeting. I heard the door.
Yeah. So, hearing no suggestions yet, I'm going to pick one.
Go for it.
But feel free if you think of one, especially one that, page 94.
Okay.
This is the one we don't usually sing. And so it starts with the second line is Tov v'hodot Adonai. It is good to give thanks to God, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, to sing to your name, O Most High, lehagid b'boker chastecha, every morning to acknowledge God's chesed, be'emunacha ba'leilot. We often talk about us having faith. This is God's faithfulness to us. Okay? It goes like this. And if you hum along, sing along, because we don't usually do this. Tov v'hodot Adonai, page 94. Tov v'hodot Adonai, ulezamer, l'shimcha elyon, Tov v'hodot Adonai, Tov v'hodot Adonai, Tov v'hodot Adonai, ulezamer, l'shimcha elyon, Tov v'hodot Adonai, v'hagid b'boker chastecha, v'hagid b'boker chastecha, ve'emunatecha b'leilot, ve'emunatecha b'leilot, Tov v'hodot Adonai, Tov v'hodot Adonai, Tov v'hodot Adonai, ulezamer, l'shimcha elyon, Tov v'hodot Adonai. And the same page, 94, 6 lines up from the bottom. Tzadikat amar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh shetulin bebeit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu, od yenuvun beseva, deshenim bera'ananim yiyu lehagid, ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avatabo. And let's go to page 100. In the middle of the page. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Ocho, Hallelujah, Birkia Uzo, Hallelujah, Vigurata, Hallelujah, Kerogulo, Hallelujah, 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 B'teika Shofar, Hallelujah, B'nebel B'chinor, Hallelujah, B'tof Umachol, Hallelujah, B'minim B'ugah, Hallelujah, 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 B'tzil Tzlei Shama, Hallelujah, B'tzil Tzlei Truah, Kol Hanshama, Tehaleya, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. Ready to learn a new song?
Sure.
You want to learn a new song, Lisa? You up for a new song today? Okay. Galia, you up for a new song today? So, we now have so many melodies to this one, but there's another melody. To the Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia, the song, the words we just sang. And it goes like this. I haven't sung it in a long time. I wasn't planning to teach it today, but it just came to me. So, Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia, Hallelujah. That's the whole song. It just keeps repeating. So we'll do it slowly. Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia, Hallelujah. That's right. Kol HaNeshama too. And there's a synagogue in Jerusalem that is known as Kol HaNeshama. And this is their theme song. So they start every service, I believe, they used to do it with this song. So let's sing it a couple times, and it can start at any moment. In other words, someone can start Kol Ha, and someone else can come right in Kol, so it can be going in various levels. But for the first time we do it, we'll just focus on the melody.
What's the translation?
Kol HaNeshama. Every soul,
okay.
Which is also the same word as breath.
Right,
Neshima. Right. Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia. We'll praise God. Hallelujah. Here we go. Kol HaNeshama God willing. When we have many voices singing it staggered, it's really, it just takes off. Okay. Page 104. Nishmat kol chai tivarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu Rachel asar Adonai, who neither slumbers nor sleeps, you stir the sleeping, give voice to the speechless, free the fettered, support the fallen, and raise those bowed down. You alone do we acknowledge. Page 104, the last paragraph together in English. From Egypt you redeemed us, from the house of bondage you delivered us, in famine you nourished us, in prosperity you sustained us. You rescued us from the sword, protected us from pestilence, and saved us from severe and lingering disease. To this day, your compassion has sustained us. Your kindness has not forsaken us. Never abandon us, Adonai, our God. Page 105, the middle. Shochenad maharam v'kadosh shemo v'chatu rabim v'tzadikim b'Adonai la'isharim navat tehila b'fi sharim titalal u'divrei tzadikim titbarach u'vilshon chasidim titromam Uvekerev kedoshim tikadash Uvemakalot ribibot Amecha Beit Yisrael Shekein chovat kol hayitzurim lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elokei avotenu להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, להלל ולקלס, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. כי לך נעים אלוהינו ואבותינו שיר ושבחה ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אלוהי העולמים. Page 108. El Adon al kol ha'ma'asim baruch u'mevorach b'fi kol neshama gadlo v'tuvo malei olam da'at u'tvuna asov v'imoto Hamika el chayot ha'kodesh v'nega b'chavod al ha'merkava zechut u'mishor lifnei chisol chesed rachamim lifnei kavodo tovim me'oro shebara Eloheinu yitzaram b'ta'at b'bina u'paskel koach u'gvura natan bahem li'od moshlim b'kerev tebel meleim ziv u'fikim noga na'ezivam b'chol ha'olam שמחים בצאתם בששים בבואם עושים בהמה רצון קודם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו צלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אורה והקים צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים באופנים בחיות הקודש ילאי לילה 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 Page 109, the top paragraph together in English. To God, who completed the work of creation on the seventh day and ascended God's glorious throne. God robed the day of rest in beauty, calling Shabbat a delight. God ceased all God's labors on Shabbat. That is his distinction. The seventh day itself hymns praise to God, a song for Shabbat. It is good to acclaim Adonai. And we don't usually do it, but let's read the next paragraph. Let all God's creatures likewise sing God's praise. Let them honor their sovereign creator of all, who in holiness grants rest and repose for God's people Israel on the holy Shabbat. In the heavens above and on the earth below shall your name be hallowed and acclaimed, Adonai our God. Praise shall be yours, our deliverer, for your wondrous works, for the lights you have fashioned, the sun and the moon, which reflect your glory. So we just sung about the sun and the moon in El Adon, and this keeps that theme going, and also the theme of Menucha. Hamanchil Menucha L'Amo Yisrael, who gives rest, repose to God's people on the Shabbat. I just saw an article in the Hampshire Life. This guy, Steve Farrer, who writes for it. You see a picture of this man and the rest of his family. He's sitting there looking out, and the rest of his family all have their little iPhones. Everyone's in their iPhone. And some people are writing about how there should be one day a week free from iPhones, free from electronic devices, free to just relax, be in the moment with one another. And that picture sort of, that picture in this prayer about a time for rest, a time to give it a rest, is speaks to me a lot.
You go to the restaurant and what you see, the children sitting and playing and no one talks.
That's right. That's right.
Terrible.
That's right. So there are people who are secular Jews who are writing about there should be a day off from all this stuff, and really it fits with Shabbat. I mean, it totally does.
It's not only on Shabbat.
Right.
Maybe if the children would know how to communicate, we wouldn't have yesterday 10 kids killed.
Yeah.
You know. Just,
I don't know if you've ever been out for dinner and you see a couple, maybe usually a young couple at an adjoining table, and they're both on their phones.
yeah.
And I'll be out with, my date, and we'll, but intentionally leave the phone in the pocket and attempt to actually communicate. I think that.
Yes.
They communicate with the cell phone while with each other.
Well,
Yeah.
That's why we don't live together, so we don't argue.
No, it's true.
It's
It's
very
just, yeah.
It's a good article, I read it.
Yeah, it was a good girl. Yeah.
Very, very good article. I'll just say quickly, I'm subscribed to a website, and at one part of it I was invited to take a quick quiz about my relationship to technology.
Yeah.
And they give you results based on your answers, and they offer you suggestions.
Uh-huh.
And we're
So I want to give you permission to take menucha on Shabbat.
I'm gonna go with
He's taking the nucha from us, which is...
No, I know he has to go. I know.
Yeah,
I understand. Yeah. Okay. So let's continue on page 110. Tiparach Tzureinu Malkeinu V'go Aleinu Borei Kedoshim Kulam Avihim Kulam Berurim Kulam Giborim V'chulam Osim Be'ema Ubira Retzon Konam V'chulam Potchim Et Pihem B'Kedusha U'B'Tahara B'Shira U'B'Zimra U'Mvarchim U'Meshavachim Mefarim U'Maritzim U'Makdishim U'Mamlichim Et Shem Ha'el HaMelech Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora Kadosh V'chulam Mekablim Aleichem O Malchut Shamayim Zeh Mizeh V'Nonim Reshut Zeh Lazeh L'Hakdish Le'otzram B'Nachat Ruach V'Safa Brura V'Nima Krosha Kulam Kechad Onim Ve'omrim Be'yirah Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Meloch ol haaretz kevodo. Rofanim v'chayot hakodesh, Bera'ash gadol minasim lu'matzrafim, lu'matam mishabchim v'omrim. Baruch kevod Adonai mikomo ve'el Baruch ne'imot yitenu lamelech el chai v'kayam Zmirot yomeru v'tishpachot yashmiru kihu levado Po'el geburot Chadashot Ba'al milchamot Zoreat tzedakot Matzbiach yeshuot Borei refuot Norah tehilot Adonam niflaot Hamechadesh betuvo B'chol yom tamid Ma'aseh Bereshit Ka'amur le'oseorim dalim Ki le'olam chasto Or chadash al Tzion ta'ayir V'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro Baruch ata Adonai Yotzer Hamleoro. Page 111 is Promised Bonnie.
Oh, thank you.
Ahava Rabba Ahavtanu 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 Ahava Rabba ודבק לבנו במצוותיך, ויחל לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם בלשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה אם שמעת ישמעו מצוותיי, ושמו קיים וכיסא נכון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. 113, the last 4 lines. Emet שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו מלכנו מלך אבותינו אבותינו גואלנו גואל אבותינו יוצרנו צור ישועתנו הודנו ומצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מאוד. Michamocha, page 114. Let's try the call and response beginning part of it. Michamocha, Michamocha, Ba'elim Adonai, Ba'elim Adonai, Mikamocha. We haven't sung this song in a while, but page 120. Sim Shalom. May God grant peace. And the different melodies. Moni, you seem to say, oh yeah, there's a melody you have in mind.
Oh, I wasn't saying that, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying the familiarity with enjoying the song.
Oh, okay, good. So here's the melody I was
I'm trying to think.
invite us to join in on. Hi, page 120. 120 Sim Shalom. And if we come back to that's the chorus. Sim Shalom Tova V'Bracha Chen V'Chesed Rachamim V'Rachamim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yisrael Amecha Barcheinu Avinu Kulanu Ke'echad Ve'or Panecha Ve'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Sim shalom tova uvracha Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'al kol Yisrael amecha Torat Chaim ve'ahavat chesed ve'ahavat chesed Utzedaka uvracha ve'rachamim ve'chaim ve'shalom Sim shalom tova uvracha Chen v'chesed ve'rachamim ve'rachamim aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'al kol Yisrael amecha V'tov be'einecha levarech Et amecha Yisrael B'chol עת ובכל שעה V'shlomecha Sim shalom tova uvracha Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'al kol Yisrael amecha Baruch atah Adonai Hamarech et amo Yisrael Shalom.
Now that it's over, I remembered what you saw me trying hard to think of.
What was that?
The tune that I remember.
This
Which
tune
is it? Which tune is?
Sim shalom tova bracha. Sim shalom.
Sing it.
Hold on.
Let's learn from it.
All right, let me start it a little. Sim shalom tova bracha.
Can you hear?
Sim shalom. Sim shalom tova bracha. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom.
Okay, let's try it.
All right. Sometimes it's done in a round, but another time.
Not yet.
Okay. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Sim shalom.
Can we do that first line again just so we get it?
Yeah, gotta get it.
Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom.
You get in 8th class for remember the melody.
Yeah.
Did you know that
Can we
was
try one more time all the way through?
Okay.
One more time?
Is it how many times do we repeat things? Not at all.
Usually things are the way I learned it, we do this in the hospice chorus I sing, and we do it like 2 each for each line.
Okay. That's what.
And then we do a round, but
Well,
later. So
Or you also
so we repeat once.
exactly.
And
You
then-
repeat, at each one you do 2
One
times.
repeat, yeah.
Yeah, one repeat. Yeah.
How long you know this song?
I'm sorry.
You know this from your bat mitzvah?
No, I sing in a hospice singing group, and we sometimes sing this to people. So, yeah. So, okay. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom. 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 Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Thank you.
I would like to play that around sometime.
It's really nice.
This is the kind of melody that you like.
I love
Is
it.
this a three? Would this end up being a 3-part round? Or
Yeah,
does it?
we've done it in 3 parts. It's really nice. Yeah.
I could do that part over and over if someone could do the other parts. I think I can handle that part.
Yeah.
You'll sing this all the way home without
I will. We will.
You
Yeah.
will.
So we've given up on the sing shalom. That's the one I know.
Which one is yours?
All right. Let's.
Sing shalom tova uvracha.
That's nice.
Uvracha.
Never heard that one.
Yeah, never heard it.
Keep going.
Never
We'll
heard
see
it.
how
Go ahead,
many
go ahead.
melodies
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Let's see.
That's the one I know. Well, that's what I grew up with.
If you have a good, come on up and
Go for it.
No,
baby.
no,
Oh, come on.
Sing shalom, sing. That one?
Sim shalom tova uvracha. Tova uvracha.
It's nice.
And then where's it go from there?
I forget.
She
It
doesn't
really does go there.
Oh, yeah. Can you lead it or are you not ready?
No, I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
I was little.
Next week.
Okay. Anyone else have a sing shalom? Lisa, you got a sing
I
shalom?
try to remember the one that we used to sing in the synagogue. You know. Sim shalom.
Isn't that what we
The
did?
one that we just did.
Yeah.
That's the one I know best.
Yeah, this is the one that we used to do.
I have to figure it out.
This sounds nice, though. I
It
like.
does sound nice.
It's kind of old.
I'd like to learn it.
It reminds. It's like a dirge.
I have to take my tape.
Same, shalom.
Oh, it's nice.
I'm sure some Hillel kid.
I'm trying to think of one I knew as a kid.
Yeah, that's
There's a
what
different one as a kid. Well, then there's Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. If it sounds awful like a church melody, it is.
It's nice.
No, peace. But it,
Nobody's talking.
yes,
Yes. Yeah.
that's a nice melody.
That's a nice one too.
Because I always, when I hear you guys singing this song, I'm always thinking of one that I learned. It's like, how come I never sing the one I know? But I guess because no one knows one.
Okay, well, this was fun.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the Torah portion, shall we? If anyone remembers any Sim Shalom as we're going along and wants to teach it, we can do a melody of Sim Shaloms today.
I have to go to my tape when I used to leave Friday night service. So I'll see it there.
But maybe it'll come to you. It might just come, you know? No, seriously.
That's how things happen.
Melodies have a way of staying with us, you know? Melody, we can forget other things, but melodies...
Absolutely.
But usually you can't force them into your brain. They just
That's
wake
true.
up in the morning and they'll come.
That's true.
I wanted to ask you before we start reading Bamidbar. Israel was all the time from Pesach, one parasha ahead of us, because our Pesach fell because of the 2 days came on Shabbat. So we were back.
Really?
Yeah. And suddenly this Shabbat, the first time we are together Bamidbar.
Wow.
They kept saying all the time that in Shavuot we will meet.
Huh.
And
Isn't that sweet? Reading that on Shavuot.
Aww.
I didn't know it. Seriously, that's interesting. Yes. Yeah.
When is Shavuot radio? Should start it tonight?
in
Tonight.
Israel it's tonight and tomorrow. For us it's tonight, tomorrow and Sunday. And Monday.
Yeah.
Israel's only one day.
Okay,
So actually, let's look at the very beginning of the Torah portion, even though it's not in our thing, but I'd like us to. If we go to page 769,
759?
769, 769.
Oh, I know 769.
The very beginning of the book.
Very beginning of the book.
So I didn't see it.
And if someone would read that first paragraph for us, 769 through, say, verse 4 on 770.
On the first day of the second month, in the second year following the exodus from the land of Egypt, the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, saying, "Take a census of the whole Israelite community by the clans of its ancestral houses, listing the names, every male head by head. You and Aaron shall record them by their groups, from the age of 20 years up, all those in Israel who are able to bear arms. Associated with you shall be a man from each tribe, each one the head of his ancestral house."
Okay, thank you. So, one little thing to note is the term "take a census." On verse, it's the first words of 770. It doesn't say, just count it. It says, "Su'u et Rosh Kol Adat B'nei Yisrael." Lift up the heads of all the children of Israel. which is kind of an interesting way. And so some commentaries I've read have pointed out that we don't want to reduce people to numbers, but somehow we want to say every person counts. So to lift up the heads and to acknowledge that everyone's important. Now, of course, exactly.
What? What did you say, Henry?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
What did you say?
The women aren't here.
Oh,
yeah.
well, they're here today.
Today, this would be totally counted. And it's important to lift up the heads of all Kol Adat B'nai Israel, all the people. So that, just in terms of census, one thing to note, which I thought was interesting. And another thing is, as we talked about before, we don't, because we want to lift up people and recognize each person as an individual, which is one of the reasons why we don't count people, right? You know the tradition in the Minyan. We don't say how many people we have here. We're not supposed to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's like reducing us to numbers.
I'm laughing because Brielle used to do this kind of standing.
Yeah.
I took her to the side one
Good,
time.
that's nice.
You don't count only with your eyes.
Yeah, and explain to her why too, because we don't want to reduce people just to a number. I mean, you know, and, I don't mean to say this. That's what Nazis did,
Yeah.
right? So,
No, but
with the numbers on our arms, the tattooed numbers.
But it's most likely tradition that was before this.
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying that was taking it to its worst. Yes, it was definitely before that, no question about it. So there are several ways of doing it. Some count, which I think is funny, not 1, not 2, not 3. But another way, which we talked about before, there's a prayer, Hoshia et Amecha, Hoshia et Amecha, Varech et Nachatecha Urim, V'naseh Ma'adolam. It has 10 words in it. So when we're counting at the beginning of the service, we want to make sure we have a minyan. Hoshia et Amecha, Varech et Nachatecha. If we get to the end of the thing, we know we got a minyan. But anyway, we don't want to reduce people just to numbers, and that's so important.
Well, especially where in the book, there's always, they tell you how many cattle there are, and how many, so they count the animals, they count the other stuff.
Yeah. And we do count the people. It does say how many people there are, how many people in each
But
tribe.
they're their names.
Yeah, but no, later on it'll say how many there were in the tribe. But in the counting, we try to count them as human beings, not as just a number. And not to reduce a human being just to
If
a
you
number.
think 1 second, in non-Jewish tradition, players, soccer and all this, they go by number.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. And it was interesting in that movie that I mentioned at Minyan the other day of Yitzhak Perlman. He's driving around Jerusalem. He says, look at the streets. Every street is named after a rabbi, an artist, a scholar, a hero, or whatever. Every street has a name. Right? In Jerusalem, I don't think there's a First Avenue, a Second Avenue, a Third Avenue. No street is a number. Every street is a name.
It's funny, when I came to the United States, I lived in New York,
Yeah.
and I would send letter in those days, it was different communication, and the letter I say, it's so easy. He said, all the street go straight, and they have just numbers. And so it struck me very strong when I came here.
And the same was with me. I thought it was no fantasy at all. How come that it's only numbers? And here in Holyoke, I saw no bridge street. So I thought it was no bridge street for a while.
Right. That's good. So, the other reason I want to start from here is it could have said, and God spoke to, on page 769, it could have said, God spoke to Moses in the tent of meeting on the first month, or the second day of the month, and second month of going out of Egypt. But it adds Bimidbar, in the desert. You want to read it? Okay. page 769. So it's important that it adds, if God spoke to Moses, Bimidbar. Bimidbar means
I think
The Bamidbar, but in the desert.
in the desert or in the wilderness.
And
Yeah?
I'm looking to 738. וידבר אדוני אל משה בהר סיני.
Yes. So sometimes Bahar Sinai, this one is in Bimidbar Sinai.
It's
Yeah?
keep going on like this.
Yeah? So, now my dear friends, it happens, Nitsa, you were talking about how there was a differentiation of a week between the Torah readings in Israel and Chutz La'aretz, but now they're all together. This Torah portion, Bimidbar, is always the Torah portion that's read just before Shavuot. Yeah, that's the way it works. Because there's not always a coordination between the Torah portions and when the holidays come. Right? But this one comes just before Shavuot. So, the question for this morning is, why? Why is this Torah portion the one that always comes, and was the rabbis, figured out this stuff, so it's not just happenstance. Why is this one the one that comes before the Shavuot? The Torah portion, and it starts the book of Bimidbar, which means in the wilderness.
Which
Why?
Torah portion are we talking about?
We're talking about the one on page 769, Bimidbar. It's the first one of the book. It's known as Bimidbar, which means in the wilderness or in the desert.
So say the question again.
My question is, why does the rabbis go to such trouble to make sure that this was the Torah reading that came right before Shavuot? Because what's in this Torah reading, they're taking a census of all the men, and they're organizing the community around the Ohel Moed by tribes.
We're
I
going to
was just
study.
telling Bree that
It seems that he's talking to all the 12 tribes here.
Yes, that's true. But we're always talking about the 12 tribes.
No, but here in specific, every tribe is,
Well, don't you want them all to be there when they receive?
You definitely want them all to be there when you receive Torah. You're starting to hint. Where was the Torah given to the Jewish people?
and then there's another.
Wasn't it on the mountain?
It was on the Mount Sinai, which is in the
In the desert.
which is in the desert, in the wilderness. So we start this book talking about Bimidbar Sinai. It could have left that detail out because it wants to make a connection between the wilderness and between the giving of the Torah. So, for example, it says in the just one second. In the Babylonian Talmud, it says, I like this quote, one should be open as a wilderness to receive the Torah. So there's a lot of biblical, rabbinic commentary on the connection between the book, beginning the book of Bimidbar in the wilderness, coming right before the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai in the wilderness, and connection between wilderness and Torah. Bree, I stopped you. You wanted to say something?
If Moses didn't get the tablets or the Torah, would we not have the Torah, or does this work?
As they say in Hebrew, Yono say. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? It's a good question. What do you think?
What's the question?
She asked if Moses hadn't been given the Torah on Mount Sinai, would we have the Torah?
I don't think so.
Maybe it would have happened some other time. Or in some other way.
or maybe not.
Maybe not.
It's interesting to think
It's an interesting question to think about.
Good question.
It's interesting this question because the Torah is the thing that keeps holding the Jew together all these years. Right? There is no nation that has a book that keeps them together.
Yeah. central even in how we were organized too, with the tent of meeting in the center and with the tablets in the middle. So it's at our heart. If you think about how some cities might be organized or whatever, there's a commercial district in the center. But if we read in this beginning, or sometimes a church, in this one, what's at the center, each tribe was assigned a space in reference to where the Ohel Moed, the tent of meeting, was. That was our focus. So yes, it keeps us together as a community. It keeps us together as a people, for sure. Why else? Why in the desert? So we read one thing. Remember, which was one should be open as a wilderness to receive the Torah. Okay? Any other things we might think about why the Torah was given in the wilderness? It might have been better to give it, in the land once we were. Yes.
Oh, I was raising my hands.
Oh, you just stretch. Okay.
Don't
No,
put it
that's
on.
why they got it in the desert.
Yes.
Because they were in the desert for 40 years, so now they couldn't get it.
Well, they could have got it after they went into the land of Israel. God didn't give it to them in Jerusalem.
It's not anymore. What keep them together for 40 years? It's the Torah. The Ohel Moed that went moved with them wherever they moved.
Okay, all right, so, okay, yeah.
Well, I love the imagery when we have to move the Torah and we're traveling with it, and then it becomes part of the whole group. So we have to bring it somewhere.
You stretch and break, or you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry, that was my
Okay.
fault.
So, some other reasons that are given, not in the Torah, but given,
If they were given the Torah before they went to Mount Sinai, would they have, been able to know what would have happened in the future?
well, the Torah wasn't necessarily telling them what's happening in the future. The Torah is telling you how to live right now. How to live. What's important in life, how to live, values, how to treat one another. So, that's something people could use anytime. Right? Don't kill, don't this, love your neighbor as yourself, etc. So, here's a couple of things I've come up, I found, I didn't make these up. One explanation for why the Torah was given in the Bimidbar, in the wilderness, is the wilderness doesn't belong to any one people. Right? The wilderness is sort of like the moon, I guess. No one has an ownership of it yet, at least we know of. So, in a way that it was trying to say that the Torah is given in universal space. Not only Jewish space. Yes, it's for the Jewish people, but yes, it could also be for other people too. So, and also a second reason connected with why in Bimidbar where no one had ownership, let's say it was given after we got to the land of Israel somehow, then it would have be in one tribe or a different tribe or a different tribe. And so each tribe could say, ooh, I got the Torah in mine, in my territory. So this was a way of saying we all have equal access to the Torah. We all, it wasn't meant for just the tribe of Judah. It wasn't meant just for the tribe of Benjamin. Every single one of us has access to the Torah. Which I kind of think that was cool.
Let's stop here.
Please.
Israel, the tribe were all together. They were all over.
Right.
While in the desert, they were all together. So when they talk to the whole people.
Nice. So that's another reason. Good. So yes. So this way, you're right. Another nice reason that we were all there at Sinai.
But I dispute about the desert.
Good.
So how come this desert belonged to Egypt and not to Israel? And Menachem Begin didn't fight with him to tell him when we returned back to Sinai, he didn't say no. The Bible says to everyone, so we share it, and he didn't want to give an inch. He only gave Gaza.
Yeah.
He said, this I'm not taking back.
Yeah. I can't answer that one. That's modern
No, I
history.
say it's
Yeah.
But is it only one Mount Sinai in the Middle East? Is it another one?
Mount Sinai?
it was accessible to everybody. It was in the middle of the whole Jewish people, you're saying, right? And that's one of the reasons it's given. It belongs to no, if this was no person's land, or the other way of saying it was every person's land.
I'm sorry, I just have to stop there for 1 second, because I think there's something beyond that just kind of, like, it came to me as you were saying it, was that I love how that it said that it's no peoples. And it brings to me the mind that we are Jewish, but yet we're saying this is no peoples. And right now you have all these religions, fighting each other about which is the way, which is the way. Our way is the way. Our way is the way, and everyone's fighting over it and having wars over it. And yet here we are saying it's everybody's. This is our philosophy, is that it's everybody. We don't care if you're Jewish or not Jewish. This is everybody's land. God is saying it's for everybody. It's just the
We're talking about the desert. We are not talking about.
It doesn't matter. It's what he's. My interpretation, maybe I'm getting it wrong, is that he's saying that this is for everybody. Anybody and anybody. Am I right or am I wrong?
And if you think about it, there are other traditions that the Christian tradition.
Right.
This is part of their tradition. So in other words, we don't claim unique ownership of this.
That's right.
It was given in a place that had no one people owning it, and this could be owned, could be connected with other people.
It can, right.
You want to talk?
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm saying, is that it doesn't matter, and I think that's quite a lovely way that we as Jews are. I love that about us.
When the Jewish came from Egypt into this desert that we are talking, the Amalek was there, the Palestine was there. They have a lot of enemies that they live there.
Right.
Yeah. So it belongs to everyone.
It's still true now. And it's still true.
And it's still true.
Well, actually, in the Sinai Peninsula today, maybe 100,000 people live in the whole peninsula. It's still, it's pretty open area. But people are still fighting over it too.
Yeah, well.
But I didn't want to go to the current. All right, one other reason I found, again, I didn't make these up. These are reasons that are given in the tradition. It said that the Torah was given to a people, the Jewish people, who had few possessions and not much property of their own. It wasn't given to us because we were rich and famous and had gold and silver and whatever. We were a desert wandering people. We had some animals that we could eat, and we had whatever, and we didn't even have our own land yet. We were not the aristocracy of the world, certainly not the financial aristocracy of the world. We were simple desert people, and the Torah could be given to us and could be given to other people, no matter how smart or how dumb or how rich or how poor. It can speak to all of us. So those are some of the traditional reasons why the Torah portion of Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness, always comes before Shavuot. And again, I want to repeat, just for your sake in particular, that it also says that one should be open as a wilderness to receive the Torah. Which is very important. So in a way it's counterintuitive, because usually when anything new is given to us, we see it through our own eyes, through our own experience, through our own everything, right? I mean, everything that's been part of our life until this point affects how whatever this new thing is, and it's natural that be the case. So this is really a challenge. I find this a challenging statement, that to try to move away from all of our assumptions, try to move away from all our subjectivity and to try to take it in as totally new, which is not completely possible, but it's a challenge to us. Try to be open to it without all the things that we usually put up in front of ourselves to any new experience. Try to be open to this experience. And I think that that's a powerful challenge to us. And there's, if I may, just one other thing. I was reading on that theme of being open. This is a nice book that has a lot of good commentary. It says, other commentaries believe that the Torah was given in the wilderness of Sinai to teach that as the desert is open to all influences, those who wish to make the Torah their own must also be open to all its various teachings. In other words, the best students are not those who close their minds or have no patience for the views of others, but rather those who make themselves like the desert. They're receptive to new ideas, willing to consider new perspectives. They take time to examine and experiment with novel views, unafraid to try innovative suggestions. Quote, if the people are not as free as the desert, one interpreter says, they are not worthy to receive the Torah. I'd rather see the positive rather than the negative of that statement. But interesting that we can also, the Torah can speak in many voices, and how we hear it through other people's voices too is important, and to respect those voices. So, just some thoughts, especially given that tonight is Shavuot, and people will be sharing parts of Jewish tradition with each other, and we may not necessarily agree with everything they say, but let's be open to their voices and to hear them. Bria. And then we're also having milkshake.
Brielle has a Shavuot milkshake recipe that she got from one of Leslie's books.
Okay.
So she wants to.
Well, that sounds very good to me.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You were first.
I was just going to say, it's interesting as you were speaking about that, cultivating the attitude of openness and freshness.
Yeah.
I think of, the talk these days about mindfulness, which truth is, it feels like it's kind of, no disrespect, in vogue now, but it's around for who knows how many years and decades. But it's so Jewish. Because really, what you're talking about in many ways is cultivating an attitude of openness to the moment, to receiving what's there, in this way, the Torah. But it's so intriguing to me how so many of the great teachers of mindfulness are Jewish.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how in sync it is.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, the Haggadah that we used this year was called Pitchu Li. Open for me.
Yeah.
And one of the Psalms, and maybe let's end with this.
Nice.
The idea of being open. Let's find Hallel.
While you're finding it, can I just add to that just one little thing? Was that, I've often said this before, that when I come on a Saturday, and sometimes you come in all sorts of ways and different moods and different ups and downs, I always seem to be able to leave here with what I came to get. For some reason, you come in and you do this interpretation of what you're reading, the parsha of the week, and we talk about it. And again, like you're saying, we're mindful, we're here, we're present.
Right.
We're open to hearing some interpretations, but we're open to listening to our own, too, at the same time, really embracing it. But it's just like for me, and Ken has said this, and we just have come in sort of a state of mind. We've left enriched by whatever has come about here, and I can say that I embrace it every single time I come. I leave with something.
Here it is.
And I leave with something so rich that it just brought to me something. And so I feel like that every single time I come, I leave with something.
You know why?
Because you are open.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it, because
That's
you're
really
listening
nice.
and you hear what other people say.
Yeah.
Not everyone is in this stage, not everyone. listen.
So, on that beautiful thought, let's go to page 136.
On the bottom.
The last two lines, Pitchu li, open for me, gates. Open the gates so I can listen. Open the gates so I can be open to teaching for every human being. Pitchu li, Sharei Tzedek,
you study before. And she wrote a book about this, very interesting. She described this like the bride, and the night before it's preparing, beautifying the bride to get up to the Khatan, to get the thing. And in between it's the Shekhinah.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful, so beautiful the way they describe it. Well, we are talking so freely, so.
Very
That
nice
is
image.
beautiful.
I had my night already of studying.
Oh, it's lovely.
But it was
really nice.
Very nice. Good. Very good.
We're so lucky we have these opportunities to talk like this.
Yeah.
Let's put this back. So, let us go to our usual conclusions, which of course has Ein Keloheinu right there
Go great.
on
Right
page
on target.
182.
Keloheinu, Ein Kadoreinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mikeloheinu, Mikadoreinu, Mikemalkeinu, Mikamoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shetiru, Avoteinu, Lefanecha, Ekataret Hasamim,
Aleinu
Shamel Adonai, Atekedulah Yotzer Breshit, Shelo Atzanu Kivayeh Haratzot, Velo Samanu Kamishpekot Adama, Shelo Sam Halkeinu Kahen, Vigor Aleinu Kekohanam, Yanachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech, Malkei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yosei Haaretz, V'Moshe V'Karon B'Shamayim V'Ma'al, Ushminatu Zo, Ushminatu Zo, V'Govei V'Romim, Hu Eloheinu, Einot, Emet Malkeinu, Efes Ulato, Kakatuv B'Torato, V'yadata Hayom, V'Hashevota Elelecha, Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim, B'Shamayim Mima'al, V'Haaretz Ya'aretz, Mitachat Einot, Einot.
Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai, v'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad.
moments to yourself or whatever you need to do.
So just a few announcements. So tonight is Leil Erev Shavuot. We will be having our annual study group at 8 p.m. tonight, followed by ice cream and milkshakes, sponsored by Brielle. So that is tonight, and I hope that you all can join us. And it's always actually really, I love this this night. This is always very enlightening, and I don't know, it just seems special because we all read something and we all have our own interpretations. I know Ken and I read the same passage, and he said one thing and I said something totally different about it. So it really is left to interpretation at times. Also, Monday morning at 10 a.m. is services for Shavuot and Yizkor. Our services at 8 and then Yizkor at 10?
No.
Services at 10.
Start at 10.
So everything starts at 10. Okay. And so 10 a.m. Sunday, May 27th is Tikkun Olam at Kate's Kitchen. I believe the last, as of Wednesday, she needed 1 to 2 more people. So if you're at all interested, contact Deb Levine. Let's see. There is Wednesday, May 30th, 6:30 to 8:30, an interfaith program. Reservations are needed, and this is at the mosque, I believe, in West Springfield. There is some flyers downstairs if you're at all interested with the location and all about the program and where you can call for reservations. And then Wednesday, June 6th is the Israeli Bond Dinner, Shea Joseph, and our honoree this year is Deb Levine. Sunday, June 24th is our SOZ 114th annual meeting, and that will be held here at 11 a.m. Sunday, June 24th. So, Chag Sameach, everyone, and hope to see you this evening. And is there anything else that I might have missed that anybody would like to bring to our attention? No? Then we're all good. Just a donut.
Page 187. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Tzerem Kol Yisir Nivra V'Ein Ha'asar V'Hefsar Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Yad Menakosi beyom ekra, Menakosi beyom ekra, beyado afiruchi, beyetisha, beyayra, beyimruchi, gabiyati, Adonai li beloira, Adonai li beloira. Shabbat shalom, 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 Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat Shabbat shalom, Shabbat Shabbat, Shabbat Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom,
Yes, I am having a just staring. A little oversharing. That's okay. That's all right.
Right.
Remember the disco days? Like dry ice.
Oh yeah, remember? Dry ice? What do you mean?
Way back when.
They make smoke.
Yeah.
So like a smoke machine. So they put the dry ice
right off.
in front of a fan. A fan would blow the dry ice.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like right now I could use it.
Well, you go put your head in the fridge upstairs.
Yeah, listen.
Come on down, I'll put your head in there, buddy.
If I put this away
I remember